Imagine finding out you're about to lose your home, your entire fortune, and everything your family has built for generations. And your reaction is to pop a piece of candy into your mouth and play a parlor game. This is the exact situation playing out in turn-of-the-century Russia. The old feudal system is collapsing, the serfs have been freed, and the agricultural workforce that propped up the elite has disappeared. Caught in the middle of this collapse is an old-money aristocratic family. They are completely bankrupt, and their sprawling ancestral estate is about to be auctioned off to pay their debts. Anton Chekhov anchors the fate of his characters in the specific objects they carry. Their possessions signal their readiness for the social collapse long before the plot confirms it. These items mark the boundary between two Russias. By observing what a character clings to, we see whether they possess the tools for the new world or remain tethered to a sinking past. At the center of this financial disaster are the siblings, Renevska and Gaev. They are the physical embodiment of the old elite, living in total, impenetrable denial. Take Gaev. He constantly pulls out a box of lemon drops and sucks on them throughout the play. He is literally and figuratively sugarcoating a very sour situation, choosing a manufactured sweetness over dealing with the crisis in front of him. His sister, Renevska, does something similar with her coffee habit. She insists on drinking this expensive, imported luxury, swallowing a bitter reality while desperately clinging to a lavish, high society lifestyle she can no longer afford. While her estate back home rots, she boasts about taking a hot air balloon ride over the bustling streets of Paris. It's a perfect image of her psychological state, drifting high above the earth, entirely detached from the ground-level disaster below. Then there's Gaev's bizarre habit of miming billiard shots. Facing eviction, he nervously paces, talking about driving balls into a grand pool table's pockets. This focus is a tragic visual pun. He spends energy on a game, ignoring his own completely empty pockets. For the aristocracy, these specific objects are tools of escapism, deliberate distractions used to block out the impending collapse of their world. On the opposite end of the spectrum is Varia, the adopted daughter of the family. While her family floats in the clouds, she acts as the rigid threshold, desperately trying to hold the crumbling estate together. Her defining symbol is a heavy ring of keys she wears on her belt. Those keys represent her absolute grip on responsibility and her desperate need to maintain control over the household. But there's a deep futility to her vigilance. She is meticulously locking the doors and guarding the assets of a house the family is destined to lose anyway. That loss will come at the hands of Lopakin. He was born a serf on this very estate, but now he's a self-made, wealthy businessman. He represents the ruthless arrival of a modern economy. He carries a book, but he struggles to read it, openly admitting he falls asleep when he tries. It highlights a deep educational insecurity, a reminder that he lacks the formal refinement of the old elite. Lopakin finds his real advantage in his pocket watch, rather than the books he can't finish. He constantly checks the time, because he understands that time is money, forcing a momentum that the aristocracy simply cannot match. Not all the newly ambitious are quite so focused, though. Yasha, the young footman, tries to mimic high society by wearing a flashy white waistcoat and guzzling cheap champagne, showing a cruder, superficial grasping at wealth without the work ethic to back it up. While the old guard fiercely grips the keys to a dead past, the newly wealthy are armed with the tools and the strict sense of timing required to conquer the future. This tension finally snaps in the play's climax. The auction happens, and Lopakin successfully purchases the cherry orchard, officially cementing the transfer of power from his former masters to himself. When he announces his victory, Varia doesn't argue. She simply takes her ring of keys and drops them on the floor. It is the definitive relinquishing of control and the end of the old world. Hanging over all of this is the play's ultimate symbol, the train. The narrative opens with the family arriving on a train, and it closes as they depart. This machine brings the deafening noise of industrialization directly into their secluded lives. It acts as the physical engine of a transition that forces a modern tempo onto an aristocracy that has remained stationary for too long. History stops for no one. When the era shifts, we are forced to choose, either grab the blueprints to build something new, or sit in the dark with empty comforts, waiting for the end.